to shout out to these Beckett there, Andrew. Here I'm talking about learning from nature and how it builds what is called biomimicry, bionics. Biomimetics doesn't really matter, but it's about learning about the forms, materials, processes, functions and systems and tying them together in a multifunctional landscape. Now, I'm going to be talking about a piece of research done by a world-renowned biochemist called Malin Hoagland, and it's 16 patterns of life. So here we've got the Volvox spherical colony of single-cell organisms, and they build from the bottom up, start small, start building together. So if you're looking at this as building construction and we're talking about BIM, you start with your base template, start adding on, building up as you go along. The second thing is life disassembles itself into change. So in communication strategies, so you can talk about sign language, hello, or my son baby language, oink oink. It's a squirrel to him, but it doesn't really matter, we're communicating anyway, or cup of tea. And you can look at that as part of building technologies, how they're communicating together, how we're talking about various things. Next one, there's my son there. It's about life needs an inside and an outside. So my son's fragile brain developing over this hard skull, underneath this hard skull. So you can look at the multifunctional columns and buildings, and how you can actually use that. That ties into discussion Jason and I were having earlier. The next thing is these numbers. Anyone know what they are?
Fibonacci.
Yes. Well done. So it's about life uses few themes but generates many different variations. So you can look at how different trees grow, how each plant grows in a slightly different way. You can look at this building in patterns and that from nature, from using harmonies and biophilic design. Next thing you're looking at, life organises with information. So it's quite simple there. Lots of information there, very complex pattern. That's one of the design students up at Leeds Beckett, and you come out with building complex shapes using 3D printing technology. And next, life encourages information by reshuffling information. Now, the example here I've given is the exchange of communication in ant colonies. They work in threes, they communicate together, then the other threes then will start communicating in this massive hive mind. You can use that for streamlining your job strategies and communicating things together in the processes. The next thing life does is it learns from its mistakes. Now, elephant evolved its wrinkly skin actually meant there was a greater surface area and they could actually grow bigger and bigger and bigger. Now you can do that is by learning from your previous jobs and adapting, and then expect the unexpected, by learning from GIS or BIM and putting them all together. Next one, life occurs in water. We are 70% water, aren't we? Some of us are beer, some of us are more water. But you can start work with water and actually use that as part of the process from cleaning and not using harsh chemicals. The next one is life runs on sugar. I definitely do when I'm doing my doctorate. I 3 sugar in my cup of coffee. But plants produce sugar and store sugar. We power our cars from sugar. It's all broken down. It goes underneath the ground. We're actually then using all this sugar. The planet's got out of the sugar source, and we're trying to use it all up. Next, life works in cycles. That's not me, by the way, 'cause I don't have hair. So you start looking into this whole loops and the cycles working together. So you start looking at how we can connect all these things working in tandem at the same time. And this ties into my next slide. It's about how life actually recycles everything. So if you look at the example of, for every molecule that's being created, there's an enzyme in the world that actually can then break it down again. So the examples, we can look at the Living Building Challenge or Cradle to Cradle Design or Circular Economy or whatever we want to call it. The next one's for Duncan and his love of Lego. So, life maintains itself by turnover. So you look at our cells, we shed, our cells change over time, our days or weeks. The examples in building technology, you can take something and implement parts that can be built in different ways, and this is a great example because it's an eco-design because it had PV cells. Next example is life optimizes rather than maximizes. So using just the correct amount of materials. If a deer antlers had more that factor of safety and that amount of building going on, it would just fall over and collapse. Unlike the forest road bridge, we don't need that. You can strip away and build 3 or 4 of them. Life is opportunistic. Look at how what happens when you get fires, forest fires. Actually, plants and animals actually use that as a strategy to go in and meet and take over, and grasses actually evolved to actually adapt to these changing conditions. The next one, life actually cooperates somewhat more. If you look into your garden, ants and aphids, example, this owl collects a blind snake, puts it in its nest, and the snake actually takes the pests away, eats the pest, it doesn't, and then it means that its offspring can grow stronger. So you start looking at it, don't compete it against your competitors, find a ways of working together, make your thing stronger. We're all trying to do the same thing. And also when we're looking at networks, it's interdependent and also interconnected as well. Example, here's a mycelium network. We're actually finding now that underneath the forests, these are the key connectors from plants. The nutrient networks are connecting them together. You're transferring your sugar and everything together. So you look at the internet and data. So I'll talk about a project I'm currently working on up in Scotland. So we're based in Alloa, 10 miles from Stirling, 25 from Glasgow, Edinburgh, Kirkcaldy, that's where the Claimers are from, by the way, if you're interested. Dunfermline, terrible football team. Falkirk, even worse football team. It's on the River Forth. And what we've been doing is we're actually working with the clients to come up with various design strategies. So we're looking at connecting together with the river, building a site that's actually going to be working with the environment, maximising the views onto it. If right next to a sewage works, how can we tie that in? And it's like recycling park plan. Look at tying it in with the rest of the community, so the social enterprise and charity working with it are actually part of the whole environment. So basically that is my talk on how does nature build. There's my Twitter handle, my name, Richard, not James, and yeah, thank you very much.